Now that we've finished creating our new catalog parts and spec, it's time to test them in a piping model. If you don't have Plant 3D installed, don't worry, you can simply follow along with the video to understand how the process works. If you do have Plant installed, go ahead and open it so we can see how everything performs. We'll begin by opening the project called Spec Test. You can find it by navigating through the drop-down menu to open Desktop, Exercise Files, 0307, Spec Test, and selecting the Project XML file. This will load the appropriate project for testing. Once the project is open, navigate to the Plant 3 Drawings section and open the piping model. Check the piping specs in the project and confirm that the CES 150 spec we created during the course is available for use. This will allow us to test the components we added. With the CES 150 spec loaded, open the tool palette. You'll see all the components we added. Though the spec is relatively small, it includes enough parts to demonstrate the concept. These include 2 elbows, 90° and 45°, a weld neck flanger section of pipe, and some valves. Let's begin by routing some pipe using the 4-inch setting and the linked-in spec. As we start placing pipe, we can see that the 90° elbow appears correctly. After adding one more turn, the 45° elbow is also displayed as expected. Both elbows are functioning properly. Next, let's add a flange at the end of the pipe. When placed, the weld neck flange appears correctly, and piping can continue from there with no issues. We'll now test the valves. First, the raised face flange 150-pound butterfly valve, which should automatically place with mating flanges. As expected, the 4-inch butterfly valve appears without issue. We can also test the gate valves. We have both a welded gate valve and a flange version. Both placed successfully in the model, confirming their functionality. Now let's test a different size. We'll switch to a 12-inch pipe and repeat the process. After placing a 45° elbow and a flange, we add the valves. The 12-inch butterfly valve, welded gate valve, and flange gate valve all work perfectly. This confirms that our spec supports multiple sizes, including both 4-inch and 12-inch components. Next, let's try working with a 1-inch line. We'll start by placing a short section of straight pipe, followed by a 90° elbow and a 45° elbow. All components are available and function as expected. Now, let's try placing valves again. The 1-inch flanged gate valve and the 1-inch welded gate valve both place without any issues. However, when we attempt to place a 1-inch butterfly valve, the shape of the component changes, and it doesn't look like a butterfly valve. This is because Plant 3D substituted the component with a placeholder part. At the beginning of the course, we discussed this behavior. When a specific part isn't available in the spec, Plant 3D uses a placeholder. By hovering over the component, we can confirm that it is pulling from a spec called placeholder imperial, indicating the valve is not present in our CES 150 spec. This serves as a helpful flag, showing us that we either need to add this valve to our spec or avoid using it in the design. To double-check, open the spec from within Plant 3D using the Spec Viewer button and scroll to the valve section. You'll see that the smallest butterfly valve allowed in this spec is 2 inches. Since we tried to place a 1-inch butterfly valve, which doesn't exist in the spec, the software correctly substituted it with a placeholder. This kind of feedback is crucial. It helps catch inconsistencies and highlights when a valve is either missing or shouldn't be used. It gives your design checker clear visual cues for components that need attention. Everything appears to be working well. All the components we added are functional and usable in the model. The spec itself is easy to work with. Just remember, when using the Spec Editor tool, always check every new or modified component before starting your modeling work.